Hello folks, Reverend Crystal Cox, bringing back Goddess Church. And I want to talk to you folks today about global warming. And I'm not saying that I don't believe in global warming. Global warming is a fact. But I don't think that anything should be fear-based. Okay, I think it should be fact-based. Yes, science-based, but also faith and co-creation. I believe in all the studies out there that the power of our mind and prayer and intention changes the chemical makeup of water. So, in other words, all the water that's polluted, or the water that's in the air, or the water that's in our body can be changed by the state of our mind. And if you think about like What the Bleep, that movie, did you guys see that movie? And it talks about an electron reacting a certain way, and it acts a different way with someone in the room. An observer. You, as a human vehicle, your soul in a human body, you affect everything. Okay? You have the power to heal water. You have the power to raise the consciousness. You have the power to make things darker. All within your room, within your home, just as you are right there by yourself. The power of your thoughts and your prayers and your intention. All right. With that being said, I've studied alternative, New Age spiritual information probably for about 20 years. I was always very spiritually connected. I prayed all the time as a kid. I studied Bible scripture. I had a connection with Jesus. I studied Jehovah's Witness Church. I studied, my nose is itching for some reason, a lot of scripture-based study, but I got information from Spirit. And at that time, I didn't know what it was, okay? My family was really into the Bible, and I learned that, and that was just one stepping stone for me. Any question I asked, I got in my head. I didn't know what questions to ask. I didn't know necessarily how to connect with Spirit, but I knew things before they happened, and I knew I was in direct communication with something that was talking to me, voices in my head, based on, like a dialogue, answering questions, and I knew that I had this energy coming from my hands, and this healing energy, but I didn't necessarily know what to do with it all. So I think when I was in the 90s, all this fear started coming up about global warming, and I'm from Northwest Montana, so Glacier Park, of the glaciers melting, and it's all sad and fear-based, and everybody's all crying. They're crying because the glaciers are melting. Well, I prayed about this, and the information that I got at the time that I still feel is true today is that it wasn't nothing to be fear-based. I mean, why not think of it as that it's meant to be, that God knows what Goddess is doing, and that the human potential is like the vibration of Mother Earth, and the people starting to get good and out of the dark, and that the melting is a good thing. Why can't it be a good thing? Because global warming is a bad thing? Yeah, because if it keeps going, everything's going to burn up. Well, that's fear-based, and that certainly does not have faith in God or in Goddess, right? And a lot of people say, okay, well, there's the church and then there's science. This is actually happening. Yeah, it actually is happening. But do we fear it or do we work with it? I mean, can we say, okay, well, let's stop all emissions. Okay, so let's over here, like for example, where I'm at, let's check all the emissions on all the cars. Let's stop the wood stoves. Let's stop all this. But then let's let a paper mill poison the air 1,000 trillion times because, well, they got lots of money. So it's all imbalanced, okay? So it's just about connecting with God, Goddess, and having the right information. I know a lot of people will criticize me on this information, but this is just the information that I got. So I got that the glaciers were melting and that it was coded information. Okay, so that as the ice caps were melting, more information was coming out. The sun was coded with a certain amount of energy and information, and the sun was relating this information and opening it up, and we as human beings and human potential were actually raising the vibration, and things were coming to surface into light that had not been able to before, and this was timely and meant to be. Have faith and don't be fear-based. Now at that time I'd also studied a lot of information on that we would be walking along for thousands of years, not in the same body, of course, but And this artifact, or this something from ancient times, would just appear when we could have been walking that same road our whole life and it not have been there, and then all of a sudden it just surfaces. Well, it surfaces when humanity's ready, when we're ready to have that information, when we can handle it. You know, we're not going to explode or implode or whatever because we can't handle whatever it is we're finding. And that's happening. Things are being unearthed. You know, we're coming across these giant skeletons, for example, and it's pretty much a fact that there was a large people, like fallen angels or whatever, that aliens, whatever, that that bred with humans and that were much larger than humans and created this other race, and now they're finding the bones. Well, people weren't necessarily as a society ready for that. That they would have been fear-based, and now, you know, these things are coming to light. And in Antarctica, the pyramids, right, in the last couple months or whatever, they've showed that they've been unearthed, okay? This stuff melting is actually showing us more truth, showing us more of what we're ready to see. Things like, I know I'm switching around here a lot, but like sunscreen, for example, the sun gives us vitamin D, and vitamin D cures cancer, okay? Of course, the big controlling powers want you to have cancer so that you will, you know, pay them and kind of keep as a slave to them, you know, because money keeps you a slave to them. Cancer has always been curable. Okay, so the sun, yeah, you want to protect yourself from sun, but sunscreen is toxic, okay? Also, there's a belief that the sun has information that you need to have at this time. So it's basically like your daily download or reboot, or in order to, you know, get new information, you know, like your phone gets from the satellites or the cell towers to get new information. You get that from the sun, okay? So say the spiritual information or the gods or whatever is out there that wants to update you, you know, you, the software, and the human does it through the sun. Okay, so the sun is not to be feared. The earth changes are not to be feared. I think it was around, I forget exactly what year it was. I think I was around 18, 19 years old, and I read the first Cryon book, Cryon 1. And there's been now, what, like 13 of them, and I've read a lot of the information over the years. But at that time it talked about Cryon, which is channeled information, being an entity that was here to change the magnetic grid. And at the time I was in forestry, and after that I got a degree in forestry. And I was kind of curious about, because we would always change the declination of our compasses, you know, each year to kind of adjust, like I think it was 17% or something last time I knew. You change the declination to get your true north and true south and all that. And as I started asking people as the years went on, it was actually literally changing. And this Cryon entity, this energy, said that was basically here to shift the magnetic grid. Okay, and so you can study this information, but everything's shifting, okay? And that was actually happening to where the poles were going to shift. So that's going to create, you know, cool where it was hot and hot where it was cool. But this is all meant to be spiritually, okay? The human consciousness and our connection to spirit, we're in a lot more power than we think. So if we just buy into fear, and then we have all these fundraisers and people have to make more money, and we're all just fear-based, and we're still drilling oil, we're still have, you know, nukes, we still have toxins in the earth, we're still using electricity, when we could all have wind, we could all have solar, there's the Searle generator, there's magnetic motors, we don't need gas, we don't need oil, okay, so we don't need to have all of that. We need to control our mind, we need to awaken and understand, stay conscious every moment of our thoughts, because our thoughts are creating things. Don't let billionaires, it's just money, it's just an illusion. Don't let them control you, don't let them ruin Mother Earth and do what they're doing, you know, make a stand. And it's about understanding who you are and having faith. You know, if you have fear of anything, whether it's, you know, global warming or war on terrorism or whatever they try to get you to have fear-based, if you're in fear, you certainly don't have a healthy relationship with God or with Goddess, right? And you're not necessarily making it be known what you want. Yes, you have to fight for certain causes. I totally believe that. But if you come from a place that is spiritual, of like, I know I'm supposed to do this. So if this certain company needs shut down because they're causing global warming or whatever, you know, your reason, what you're led spiritually to do, you need to do. I'm not saying global warming is not real. Of course it's real. And of course these issues need to be taken from. I'm saying to come from a place of spirituality and faith and timely, and that these things are happening for what is of the highest and best good. Come with the intention of raising the vibration of Mother Earth and her people, and not of fear and of sadness and of grief and of crying because the glaciers are melting. Come from a place of power and of faith and creating a new reality. Come from a place that's sacred and connected to God, to Goddess. That's all I'm saying. So stay conscious, stay in prayer, connect with your guides and angels, and create the life you want from the inside out. Goddess bless you all.